We organized individual campaigns with a very clear cut objective of exposing through the plight of an individual the plight of a community. We didn't think we were social workers. We weren't paid to do this. We were always explaining that, how Labour Tory had colluded.
We realised that the Tories would come into power and make laws, and then Labour would come in. In opposition, Labour would be critical. But when Labour came into power, it was more about, well, we can go further than you. So the game has always been the same, and it's still going on. It's to see who can go the furthest to the right without putting the swastika on.
I was born in Britain, Birmingham, lived in Rochdale and Manchester. My parents separated, they were divorced. The children were given to the mother by court, but my father, like my mother gave my father the daughters and my father sent us to Pakistan. My husband got his permanent stay first, and then we applied for the children, and the answer was that these are not your children. It just went on and And then the first meeting I went publicly was Nazira Begum's and Nasreen Akhtar from Rochdale. There was a public meeting, and I went down to that public meeting. And there was a question at the end of the meeting, has anybody else got a problem? And I just stood up and told what I was going through. I says, yes, I have got a problem. And this is what I'm going through, that I've got 3 children that were born there and they're not allowed. And I've given all the birth certificates, the documents, everything, photographs. And that's where the Defence Committee was all set up, saying that we'll come to Rochdale. And that's where all the struggle started.
There was no way we were willing to accept such a terrible injustice that a mother could be denied unification with her kids. And Anwar was a very strong woman, not a woman who would sit down and take things, whatever was thrown on her. But then she was a mother who was not willing to give up her basic right. When Anwar spoke, and if there were 300 men in the room and she was the only woman, she had 300 people crying, you know, they're my children, they're coming over here, they will come over here, you will not keep my children from me. We felt that the issues we were fighting were as basic as that. The denial of our families to live together in some sense of dignity.
Initially, 2 organizations, both Bradford and Manchester Asian Youth Movement, participated, and we used to meet in Rochdale for the committee, and also some of the left organizations like RCG also operated with us.
They all got together and said that, you know, we'll form a defence committee called the Anwar Dita Defence Committee. The first ever picket we did was in front of the Conservative Party. It was an office on Drake Street, and that's where we held the first picket. And from there on, it was just non-stop. The campaign just grew and grew and grew. Photographs had to be tested. We gave that. Then I had to give a medical internal examination. I had to go through a gyno to prove that I gave birth more than 1 child. So that is that was a really, I don't know how to describe it. It's like being abused by the system. That's how I felt.
I came into the Anwar Dita case after the appeal had already been lost. I was no part of the legal proceedings, but I was part of trying to change what had happened. And I was brought into the case by the Asian Youth Movement, who had taken up Anwar's case.
Well, we all started organising public meetings. We distributed leaflets. We went to the press on a regular basis. We organised demonstrations. We organised pickets at the appeal courts, and all that needs, in a way, skills that we've developed over the years.
World in Action became involved and financed a small team of a presenter and so on, to go to Pakistan. I went with them, and we tried to trace every aspect of Anwar's period of time when she'd been in Pakistan, to authenticate that time, and the fact that she'd had children. And then we arrived back with other bits of evidence, and then the World in Action programme was finalised and it was shown on television, and it just gave the lie to such a ridiculous nonsense on the Home Office part. And the morning after the programme was shown, there was an announcement that Anwar's children could now come.
Every time they turned me down, it made me more stronger with the campaign. People supporting me, backing me. And that is something that I'll never forget, in the sense that people believed me. Government never believed me, but people believed me. And they stood with me side by side. Despite what the newspapers said,